America is tearing itself apart, and you need to see what's happening right now. Today, we're diving into the explosive divisions ripping through the MAGA movement, a shocking transparency law that could expose some of the most powerful people in the country, economic numbers that don't add up, a widow's fight for justice against a president's defense of violence, Europe's tax war on the ultra-wealthy, and the spectacular collapse of a $12 billion green dream. And trust me, I've saved the most jaw-dropping story for the very end. I spent years inside one of the biggest, most respected media organizations you know. I watched editors kill stories that didn't fit the narrative. I saw how truth got bent to protect the powerful and push agendas. So I walked away. Now I work for myself, I answer to no one, and I tell you what actually matters. No filter, no corporate overlords dictating what you get to hear. If you value the kind of journalism that doesn't bend the knee, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and if you can, please consider sponsoring us. We spend hours every single day fact-checking, verifying sources, making sure you're not getting fed propaganda or fake news. It's hard work, it's honest work, and it only happens because viewers like you make it possible. And please stay with me until the end of this episode, because what I've got waiting there is going to blow your mind. So let's get into it. The MAGA world in 2025 is not what it used to be. After Donald Trump's return to power, you'd think his supporters would be celebrating, unified, riding high on victory. But instead, what we're seeing is something far darker and more chaotic. The movement is fracturing from the inside, tearing itself apart in ways that are both shocking and revealing about where American politics is heading. Recently, there was an actual physical confrontation between supporters of Marjorie Taylor Greene and a group of neo-Nazi Groypers led by Nick Fuentes. Think about that for a second. These are people who all claim to be part of the same political movement, yet they're literally fighting each other. The disputes aren't just about policy anymore, they're about identity, about who gets to define what MAGA really means. You've got the ultra-right extremists on one side and the tech elite eccentrics on another, and they can't stand each other. Nick Fuentes went on X and declared, quote, "MAGA is dead." That's not coming from a critic or an opponent. That's coming from someone who was supposed to be inside the tent. The younger generation within the movement is breaking away from the traditionalists. They're demanding new slogans, new heroes, a new direction entirely. The energy that once seemed unstoppable now feels like it's consuming itself. But why is this happening, and what does it mean for the country? Here's where things get really interesting. While MAGA eats itself alive, another story is unfolding that could shake the entire American establishment to its core. We're talking about the Epstein files. And before you think you've heard it all before, let me tell you, this is different. Donald Trump just signed a law called the Epstein Files Transparency Act. This law mandates that the Department of Justice must fully release all documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case within 1 month. No exceptions for protecting reputations. No hiding behind national security excuses. For months, the White House tried to slow this down, tried to find ways around it, but now it's law. The ban on concealing information for reputational reasons means we could be about to see revelations that implicate some of the most powerful figures in America, people at the very top of the Washington establishment. Now ask yourself this: why would there be such resistance to transparency if there's nothing to hide? What names are in those files that have made people so nervous for so long? We're potentially looking at a moment that could redefine how we view power, influence, and accountability in this country. And it's all going to come out in the next few weeks. But let me throw another curveball at you. While all this political chaos and scandal is playing out, the American economy is sending mixed signals that nobody quite knows how to interpret. In September, the US added 119,000 new jobs. That's significantly more than economists expected. Sounds like good news, right? But here's the catch. The unemployment rate rose to 4.4%. How do you add more jobs than expected and still see unemployment go up? The percentage of adults who are either working or actively looking for work hit a record 62.4%. So participation is high, job creation is happening, but unemployment is rising. Experts are split. Some say this is a healthy sign of recovery, proof that the economy is more resilient than the doom and gloom predictions suggested. Others argue it reflects growing anxiety among businesses and the fallout from aggressive immigration policies that have disrupted labor markets. Companies are genuinely surprised. The growth they're seeing doesn't match the negative expectations they had, but at the same time, instability in the labor market is increasing. It's like watching two contradictory realities exist at once, and nobody can quite figure out which one is real. What's actually happening beneath these numbers, and what does it tell us about where the economy is really headed? Now let me take you to a story that's about ethics, accountability, and how far some leaders will go to defend the indefensible. Hanan Elater Khashoggi, the former wife of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, is speaking out, and she's not holding back. Jamal Khashoggi, as you probably remember, was a journalist who walked into a Saudi consulate and never walked out. His life was taken in a brutal, premeditated act that shocked the world. Recently, Donald Trump made comments defending the Saudi crown prince and essentially justifying what happened to Khashoggi. Hanan Elater Khashoggi responded with a statement that should make all of us pause. She said, "No past mistakes justify taking a life." She's calling on the public not to forget the responsibility that leaders have and the ethical choices they make. Trump's defense of Saudi elites has sparked outrage among human rights advocates and journalists who see it as a betrayal of the very principles that democracy is supposed to stand for. Think about what this says. When a sitting president openly defends actions like this, what message does it send? What does it tell other authoritarian regimes about what they can get away with? And more importantly, what does it say about us if we just accept it and move on? Let's cross the ocean now because Europe is having its own moment of reckoning. In France, the parliament is tearing itself apart over a luxury tax on yachts. Yes, you heard that right. A 33% VAT on luxury boats has turned into a full-blown political battlefield. Lawmakers are framing it as fiscal justice, making the ultra-wealthy finally pay their fair share. It sounds righteous, doesn't it? Tax the rich, fund the public good. But here's where it gets messy. The yachting industry and its supporters are calling this measure demagogic and destructive. They're warning that it will collapse the entire European maritime economy, eliminate thousands of jobs, and drive business to other countries where the tax burden isn't so punishing. So, what looks like a bold stand for equality might actually be an economic disaster in disguise. The French parliament is divided, the industry is furious, and the debate has become a symbol of the larger struggle over how Europe deals with wealth inequality without shooting itself in the foot. Is it justice or is it self-destruction? And can you really tax your way to fairness without consequences? And now, let me take you to Sweden, where one of the most spectacular collapses in recent memory just happened. Northvolt was supposed to be Europe's answer to the battery revolution, the company that would power the green future, the symbol of European innovation and ambition in the fight against climate change. It had $12 billion in investment backing. Major players like Volkswagen and Goldman Sachs were all in. This was the real deal, or so everyone thought. But Northvolt just went bankrupt. Completely. The company couldn't handle the pressure, lost investor confidence, and became a symbol not of green revolution but of green collapse. A court has ordered the liquidation of all its assets. Major companies are already writing off billions in losses. $12 billion, years of hype, political backing, industry support, all gone. What happened? How does something with that much money and that much support just disintegrate? And what does this say about Europe's ability to compete in the industries of the future? Are we watching the end of Europe's green dream before it even really began? So here's what we've covered today. The MAGA movement is fracturing and fighting itself in ways that expose deep instability within Trump's base. The Epstein files are about to be released, potentially exposing some of the most powerful people in America. The US economy is sending contradictory signals that nobody fully understands. A widow is demanding accountability for violence defended by a president. France is battling over a yacht tax that could either be justice or economic suicide. And Europe's biggest battery company just spectacularly imploded, taking billions with it. America today is torn apart by alliances, reforms, and scandals. Europe is going through shocks and waves of transformation. The world right now is tense, unsettling, and full of events we absolutely cannot ignore as we watch what comes next. If this kind of reporting matters to you, hit that like button, subscribe, and please, if you can, support this channel by becoming a sponsor. Independent journalism survives because you make it possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Look, I need to be honest with you for a moment. What we do here, it's not easy. Every single day, I'm reading through dozens of sources, cross-referencing facts, verifying claims, making sure that what I'm bringing to you is real, accurate, and honest. In a world drowning in fake news, propaganda, and narratives designed to manipulate you, that kind of work matters more than ever. And it takes time, it takes effort, and frankly, it takes resources. So if you're getting value from this channel, if you appreciate having someone who's willing to dig through the noise and bring you the truth without bending to corporate interests or political agendas, I'm asking you to hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you haven't already. It helps more than you know. But if you really want to make a difference, if you want to ensure that independent journalism like this can keep going, please consider becoming a sponsor of this channel. Even a small contribution means we can keep doing this work, keep fact-checking, keep bringing you stories that matter. You make this possible. You're the reason this channel exists, and I'm grateful for every single one of you who supports what we're building here. Thank you.